we all met?
Pat, and here's a marvelous convenient place for our rehearsal. This green plot right here shall be our stage, and this hawthorn brake our tiring house. And we will do it in action as we will do it before the Duke.
Peter Quince.
What sayest thou, bully bottom?
Well, there are things in this comedy of Pyramus and Thisbe that will never please. First, Pyramus must draw a sword to kill himself, which the ladies cannot abide. How answer you that?
Parlakin, a powerless fear.
Not a whit. I have a device to make all well. Write me a prologue. Let the prologue seem to say that we will do no harm with our swords, and that Pyramus is not indeed killed. And, for the better more assurance, tell them that I am not Pyramus of Bottom the Weaver. This will put them out of fear.
But will not the ladies be afeared of the lion?
Masters, you ought to consider with yourselves to bring in, God shield us, a lion among ladies is the most dreadful thing, and we ought to look to it.
Therefore another prologue must tell he is not a lion.
Well, it shall be so. But there is two hard things. That is, to bring the moonlight into a chamber. For you know, Pyramus and Thisbe meet by moonlight.
Masters! I'm gasted! I did see a red visage! The demon has to land on a rehearsal site!
Silence!
There's nothing hither, thou infant.
Doth the moon shine that night we play our play?
A calendar, a calendar. Look in the almanac. Find out moonshine, find out moonshine.
Yes, it doth shine that night. Oh.
Then may you leave a casement of the great chamber window where we play open, and the moon may shine in at the casement.
Then there is another thing. We must have a wall present in the chamber, for Pyramus and Thisbe says the story did talk through the chink of a wall.
Anywho, Commander Other must present wall. And I have some roll.
Masters! I did see something!
Anywho, let him hold his fingers thus, and through this cranny, Pyramus and Thisbe shall whisper.
Come, every mother's son, and rehearse your parts. Pyramus, you begin. When you have spoken your speech, enter into that break, and so everyone according to his cue. What hempen homespuns do we have swaggering here, so near the cradle of the fairy queen? What, a play toward? I'll be an auditor, and an actor too, perhaps, if I see cause. Naughty bully bottom, thou didst steal my spectacles.
Well, thou stole mine hat.
There's strange forces working at these woods.
Odd.
Anyways, speak, Pyramus. Thisbe, stand forth.
Thisbe, the flowers of odious
Odors! Odors!
odors, savor sweet. So hath thy breath, my dearest Thisbe dear. But hark, I hear a voice. Stay here but a while, and by to thee I'll reappear.
A stranger Pyramus than e'er played here.
Farewell, Bottom! Master Quince, I need to relieve myself.
What is yon sound? Bottom, is yon thou?
I heard that too! most humble apology. I was late. I was pleasuring myself under the moonlight.
Oh, thou gasted me thither, flute.
Must I speak now?
Here. And marry must you, for you must understand that he goes but to see a noise that he heard, and is to come again.
Most radiant Pyramus, most lily white of hue, of the color like the red rose on triumphant bier, most brisky juvenile, and eke most lovely Jew, as true as truest horse that yet would never tire. I'll meet thee, Pyramus, at Nini's tomb.
Nina's tomb, man, why you must not speak that yet? That you answer to Pyramus, you speak all your part at once, cues and all Pyramus enter, your cue is past, it is never tire.
As true as truest horse that yet would never tire.
What has happened to me? Nay. 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 If I were fair, Thisbe, I would only die.
Oh monstrous! Oh strange! We are haunted! Brain masters! Fly masters, help!
I'll follow you. I'll follow you around. Through bog, through bush, through brake, through brier. Sometime a horse I'll be. Sometime a hound, a hog, a headless bear. Sometimes a fire. And neigh, and bark, and grunt, and roar, and burn like horse, hound, bear, fire at every turn.
Oh, bottom! Thou art changed! What do I see on thee?
What do you see? You see an outside of your own, do you?
Bottom, blessed thou art translated!
I see their knavery. This is to make an ass of me, to frighten me if they could. But I will not stir from this place. Do what they can. I'll walk up and down here, and I will sing, and they shall hear I am not afraid. The also cock so black of hue, with orange tawny bill, the throstle with his notes so true, the wren with little quill. The also cock so black of hue, with orange tawny bill.
What angel wakes me from my flowery bed?
The sparrow and the lark, the plain song cuckoo grey, whose noteful many have doth my mark, and dares not answer nay. For indeed, who'd set his wit to foolish a bird, who would give a bird the lie, though he cry cuckoo, never
I
so.
pray thee, gentle mortal, sing again. Mine ear is much enamored of thy note, so is mine eye enthralled to thy shape. And fair virtue's force perforce doth move me, on the first view, to say, to swear, I love thee.
Methinks, mistress, you should have a little reason for that. And yet, to say the truth, reason and love keeps little company together nowadays. The more the pity that some honest neighbors will not make them friends. Nay, I can gleek upon occasion.
Thou art as wise as thou art beautiful. Oh!
Not as though, if I had wit enough to get out of this wood, I have enough to serve mine own.
Out of this wood do not desire to go. Thou shalt remain here, whether thou wilt or no. I am a spirit of no common race. The summer still doth tend upon my state. And I do love thee, therefore go with me. I'll give thee fairies to attend on thee, and they shall fetch thee jewels from the deep, and sing, while thou on pressed flowers dost sleep. And I will purge thy mortal grossness so that thou shalt find very, very soul. Mustard seed! Ready? Where shall I go? Be kind and courteous to this gentleman. Hop in his walks and gambol in his eyes. Feed him with apricots and dewberries, with purple grapes, green figs, and mulberries. The honey bags steal from the humble bees, and when night tapers, crop their waxen thighs, and light them at the fiery glowworm's eyes. To have my love to bed and to arise, and pluck the wings from the painted butterflies, to fan the moonbeams from his sleeping eyes, nod to him elves, and do him courtesies.
Tell, mortal. I cry your worship's mercy heartily. I beseech your worship's name.
Come, wait upon him, lead him to my bower. The moon, methinks, looks with a watery eye, and when she weeps, weeps every little flower, lamenting some enforced chastity. Tie up my love's tongue and bring him silently. No, you
Masters, you ought to consider with yourselves to bring in... God, damn it! Masters, you ought to consider Masters, you ought to look to yourselves... what the... Masters, you ought to consider yourselves... Masters, you ought to consider with yourselves to look at this... I hate my life.
When you have spoken your speech.
Find out, Moonshine.
immortal goodness, mortal grossness.
Apology, I was late. I was...
With apricots and dewberries. Justin, why do you have to...
Not so neither. If I had enough wit to serve my...
give you berries.
He was great.
Oh, I thought you said...
Some man or other must present wall, and let it have some plaster, or some loam, or some rub.
Come sit down, every mother's son. Oh,
That was too accent.